covering prototypal inheritance. So I guess it pretty much explains itself. So by just looking at the name, you will get to know what we are going to cover today. So so inheritance is like in programming, we often want to take something and extend it, right? So so for instance, let's take an object, a user object. Okay, and so it may have its properties and methods, and 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 let's say we want to make admin or guest out of the user. Correct. So user can be admin or guest, right? So in order to make that user admin or guest, we just need to slightly modify the properties of user, right? So you are with me, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So instead of copying the user object or re-implementing its method in separate object, okay, what we can do, we can we can basically uh, update the original user object. Okay, so to perform this, uh, JavaScript has feature called prototypal inheritance. Okay, so so we'll see how we can do that. Okay, so basically in JavaScript, for every object, there is a hidden property called prototype. Okay, so basically if you view any object, let's say I am declaring an object. Okay, let user. Let's say user is having name. Okay, so basically, whenever you will try to print, hover over the user when it is inside the debugging mode, you will be able to see a field called prototype, correct? Which is generally look like this. Correct. So have you guys ever encountered this prototype object when you do debugging in your front end app?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, right. Correct. So we are going to explore this prototype only, that prototype only. Okay, so basically, uh, the prototype can either be null or referred by other object. Okay, so and all other data types are ignored. Okay, so a prototype can be either null or can be referred by other object. Okay. So so basically, how inheritance work in JavaScript. So when we read a property from object, okay, let's say in this case name. Okay, uh, so basically, now I'm trying to access a property called first name. Sorry, a last name. Okay, and currently it is not present in our user object, right? So when we read property from object and it's missing. Okay. So JavaScript automatically takes it from the prototype. So if I try to access the last name and it does not exist, so what JavaScript will do? JavaScript will jump to the prototype, the object prototype. It will search there. If it is found, then it will return it. So basically, this is called prototypal inheritance. Okay. So let us take some example. Okay, I have some examples prepared. Okay, so we have two. Okay, so we have basically uh, two objects, animal and rabbit. Okay. Okay, so basically, if we want to add any object to other object's prototype, so we have a special keyword reserved for it called underscore underscore proto underscore underscore. Okay, so what I did is we have rabbit as a separate object, and I'm adding rabbit in prototype of I am adding animal in prototype of rabbit. Okay, so yeah, so I'm adding rabbit, animal and prototype of rabbit. So according to our definition, so earlier I mentioned that uh, when I will try to find some property which does not exist in the object, it will try to find that in the prototype of the object, right? So then here we are trying to access the its property, which does not present in the rabbit. Okay, so since it does not present in the rabbit object, what JavaScript will do? JavaScript will jump to the prototype of rabbit, and what we have assigned to the prototype of rabbit, that is animal object. So since inside animal object we have its property, it will print true. Uh, are you guys getting it? Like, just give me a feedback if this is not confusing.
Yes, it's going a little bit confusing.
Okay, okay. So let's try like this. We have our movie app, right? So let me first show you the. Okay, this is our yesterday's thing, right? Control I. Yeah. Mm, okay. So what was our example? Yeah, rabbit and animal, right? So we have two objects, rabbit and animal. Okay. If I print animal, ANIMAL, okay, it returns object, right? And so as I mentioned before, prototype comes with every object. Okay, so what JavaScript will do? JavaScript will attach prototype along with every object. So this was our prototype, right? Here we saw, correct? Uh, and now we have another object called rabbit. Okay, so rabbit has its own object and its prototype. Okay, so now if I try to access it property from rabbit, will I be able to access that? Simply no, right? So if I want to do like this, rabbit dot eats, so it will say simply undefined. Why? Because rabbit does not have any property called its, right? So now what we will do, we will apply the concept of inheritance here. Okay, so how inheritance is implemented in JavaScript? Inheritance is implemented in JavaScript using prototypal inheritance. Okay, so what is the usual definition of inheritance? So basically, in usual inheritance, what we can do, we have a parent class. From that parent class, we usually extends a child class. Correct? Sorry, from child class we extend parent class, so that all the properties from parents can be reusable into the child. Correct? So in child, if we want to access some properties of parents, we are able to directly accesses, correct, using child object. So in JavaScript, the concept is same. The difference is the inheritance happens through prototype. Okay, so let us see how we can do that. So basically, if we want some other object, so if we want to inherit properties of some other object, what we have to do? We have to allocate that object in the prototype of other object. Okay, so in simple word, if I want to access the properties of animal, my animal object should present in the prototype of rabbit. Okay, so what does prototype has? Prototype has constructor, has one properties, property type, all those things. Okay, we'll come to this later. So basically, as I mentioned earlier, JavaScript has reserved keyword called proto, correct, to modify the prototype of a specific object. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to inherit all the methods. Okay, correct. Inherit all the methods of animal in my object rabbit. So how I can do that? I will simply add animal object inside the prototype of my rabbit. Okay. So this is what same thing we did over here, correct? Okay, so let's before hitting enter, let me show you. So here you will see constructor has one property and all, correct? So now I'll be hitting enter, correct? So what it returned? It's true, right? Just hold, just hold. Someone on the door. Hello. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So now what I did, I simply added animal object to the prototype of rabbit. Okay. So according to the definition, which I just now mentioned, that if I want to access a property which does not belongs to rabbit, correct? Then what JavaScript will do? JavaScript will first check. Sorry, the next thing JavaScript will do is to check inside the prototype of rabbit object. Now, since we have assigned animal to rabbit prototype, so we will be able to access that. So initially, rabbit will show its own object, correct? And now if I try to access its, it will return true. Earlier, it was not able to find it, correct? So now we are inheriting all the properties of animal in the prototype of rabbits. We are able to access the properties of animal. So now it is, now does it make sense? Hello? Ankit Anand?
Yes, yes, it makes sense now.
It makes sense, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope I was able
Yes.
to explain it better.
Actually,
Okay.
yeah, we need to like read a little bit more on this, then we'll get.
Still confusing? Okay. Let me repeat. Okay. So basically in JavaScript we have hidden special property called prototype. So it was hidden, right? So unless I opened this, it was hidden. Correct. Okay. So one
Yes.
thing you can always remember is this prototype can either be null or can refer to object. So this prototype is referring to an object now. Correct. So this is the point
Yes.
number 2, which you have to keep in your mind. Okay. So yeah. So every object has its own prototype. This is point number 3. It is not like there is one common prototype class and every object can refer to it. No. So if we are creating an object, the new prototype along with that object is created only for that object. Okay. Okay. And then what I told you that when we read a property from object and that is missing. Okay. So in our case, I was trying to read the property its and it was missing from the object, right? Okay. JavaScript automatically takes it from the prototype. Okay. So why it was able to take it from the prototype? Because we explicitly assigned the animal object in the prototype of rabbit. That is why, correct? And this is called prototypal inheritance. So are you? I hope now it is more clear, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
it is.
Okay. So what we'll do? We will um, you know see more examples so that it will be like picture will be more clear. Okay.
Okay.
So same thing if I try to run over here. Node. Correct, right? So rabbit dot its will return true because it is inheriting the property of animal and original property as well. Okay, so like we can simply safely say that animal is prototype of rabbit or rabbit prototypically inherits from animal. Correct? I'll repeat again. So we can safely say that animal is prototype of rabbit. Okay, or rabbit. Okay, rabbit prototypically inherit from animals. Correct? It is inheriting the property of animal, right? And the linking between them is prototype. Correct? So if animal has a lot of useful properties and methods, then they become automatically available in the rabbit. Okay. So if I add, so let's say tomorrow if I add some more properties in animal. Okay. So all those properties will be automatically visible in the inherited rabbit. Sorry, prototypally. So yeah, correct. In the rabbit prototype. So such properties are called inherited. Okay. Okay. So moving ahead. So here what we saw, like we are inheriting an object from another object, right? But like scope does not end here. We can inherit object uh, on multiple level. Okay. So consider this example. Yeah. Okay. So here what we are doing, we have object animal. Okay. Let's delete this. Not needed. Or let it be. Okay. So now we have object animal which has two properties, eats, and second one is a method. We have object rabbit, and we have one more object called long ear. Okay. So what is happening over here is rabbit is prototypically inheriting the properties of animal, right? So when I mention proto animal, it is inheriting all the properties of animal, right? And then what I'm doing on the level 2 in long year object, I am prototypically inheriting all the properties of rabbit. Okay, so if you can see the transition, since rabbit is inheriting from animal and long year is inheriting from rabbit, so uh, simply long year can inherit properties of animal, right? Is this again confusing or you are getting it? It is pretty straightforward, right? Since rabbit is inheriting properties of animal and long ear is inheriting property of rabbit, so long ear can also access the properties of animal, right? Does
Yes.
that
Yes.
sound correct?
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Correct. So that is why. So when I try to access walk method, where is the walk method? Walk method is inside animal. Correct. But from where I'm accessing that? From longer I'm accessing that. So it is able to access because of the concept of inheritance. Okay. N level of inheritance we are doing here, right? And similarly, if I try to do longer dot jumps, so what JavaScript will do? JavaScript will go check the longer. Longer does not have any jump property. It will jump to its prototype. Correct. In its prototype, it is finding the jump. It is returning the value. Similarly, in long-year.walk, JavaScript will go check walk property in long year. It does not find. It goes into prototype. It lands here. It does not find. Again, it found that it has one more prototype to check. It goes back and checks here. It found it, and and then it executes it. Should be console log, right? So let us try executing that node. Correct, right? So long year is able to access walk and as well as uh, jump from parent objects. Okay. So till the at till this point, I guess inheritance is clear, right? Or you
Yes.
guys still have any doubts?
It's clear for me.
And Ankit?
Yes. 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 It's clear.
So now
Prototype. Yeah.
what more
So
things you can?
it's
Yeah.
as like just accessing the other object, right?
Yeah. So basically, since in
So
JavaScript
it's
we
just
don't have
extending
classes.
the first objects and all.
Correct. So basically, what we are doing, animal is our object, rabbit is our object, and longer. So we are, you can think of it like rabbit, class rabbit extends animal. Correct. Class long ear extends rabbit. Correct. Super. What you use in Angular? Super or for accessing the parent class constructor? Super only, right? Okay, so that I'm not aware. So basically, that is that. Okay. So now we can add, we can keep adding more objects, right? We can keep nesting the prototype layer. So basically, here there are two limitations. Okay. So first one is the reference can't go in circle. Okay, so it should not happen like animal, rabbit is referring to animal, long ear is referring to rabbit, and then again animal is referring to long ear. In animal prototype, you are adding long ear. So that will be a circular thing, right? So JavaScript doesn't allow that. So basically, JavaScript in such case, if you accidentally do that, or if you even try to do it on purpose, the JavaScript will throw error. Okay. And also the value of the value of underscore proto can either be object or null. So which I already mentioned you in very start, right? All other types are ignored. So always remember, when you are dealing with prototype, there can be only two possibilities. Either it will be null or it will be object. Okay, yeah, and one more thing is, I guess in C++, we have this thing, right? Multiple parent, single child. So again, this concept is not there in JavaScript. So, like, an object may not inherit from two others. Okay, so an object can only inherit from one object. So it will never happen that you are like long ear is inheriting from rabbit and animal parallelly. So you at a time you can inherit from only single object. You can access from multiple objects through prototypal inheritance chaining, like now. So that is something just now we saw like that. Okay. So I guess you can make notes of these few points. So one is the reference can't go in circle. Second is the prototype can either be null or object, and an object may not inherit from multiple objects. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So yeah, has in its own property, right? We'll check this now. Yeah. So the one exception here is the accessor properties. What are accessor properties? The getter setter method, right? So basically the assignment is handled by a setter function. So if we go through this thing, this program, so see, we are doing admin.fullname, right? So we are doing admin.fullname, and it is able to print it. Why? Because we are setting, we are inheriting the user object inside our admin object. So pretty straightforward, right? So yeah, so let us try this as well. Node. Yeah, so what we have here, we have John Smith. Then we updated the full name with Alice Cooper, so we have Alice Cooper. And then we are accessing again directly from user. Okay, that is John Smith. So if here you notice, there are three different behaviors, right? So let us explore that. So first thing, what we are doing, we are simply calling we are trying to access full name from admin, right? So it's simply JavaScript simply goes to admin. It checks that admin does not have any key called full name. Then it jumps to the prototype of admin. Prototype of admin has user, so it goes to user, and there it is able to find the full name. Correct. So since we are doing console log, it will go to the getter property, and it will simply print name and surname. Correct. Now here, in statement number 2, what we are doing, we are trying to update it. Correct. So what we did, we changed the name correct, from John Smith to Alice Cooper. So then what happened? Again, it went, since full name setter method is not present in admin, it went to the prototype, the parent object. And here, what we did, we simply set the new object, correct? But the strange thing you will be noticing that when we try to access the admin.full name, okay, it returned the newly set value. But same thing when we tried to do it on the original parent object, it returned the original value, right? So can you guys guess why this happened? Any guesses? Like when we are updating the name, it should have, and since it is referring to the parent object, it should have changed the values, right? Original values. So why this uncertainty? Any guesses? Anand? Hello?
Because it is as we have assigned admin dot full name equals to Alice Cooper. So it assigning that value to set property directly.
Okay. So let me show you those. And so when I say accessor properties, so this getter setter method, okay, let us explore the prototype. Okay. So every object has these accessor properties called get and set. Okay. And the very important question,
Yes.
which one might ask themselves in such situation, that you know, so basically it should come to you automatically in such situation, that what is the role of this when we do this dot set name and this dot username, correct? Because admin object will be having its own this, right? User object will be having its own this, correct?
Yes. So
So
it's
where are the
connected.
properties this name and this dot surname return into user or admin? So when I'm doing that, so it is obvious, right? So this object should refer to which one, correct? Whether user or whether admin. So there should be some decision making condition, right? So answer to that is very simple. So basically, always remember that no matter where the method is found, okay, in an object or its prototype, okay, so in an object, okay, or its prototype, that is this, that is user. This always refers the object before the dot, okay. So basically, if I if I'm able to state the method using admin, so this will always refer to the object which is coming before the dot. Okay, so this simple rule you can fix in your mind. So if I'm trying to update object using admin object, it will only take effect for admin object, and it wouldn't change anything for user object. So I hope that makes it clear. So again let me repeat. So what happened? Yes, Ankit, you want to point something? Okay, I guess mistakenly. Okay, so I'll repeat again. So no matter where the method is found, okay, no matter where the method is found, in object or a prototype, okay. So in object or a prototype, uh, this is always the object that comes before the dot, okay. Hello, Anand, Ankit, is this?
Yes, yes.
So basically,
Yes.
in simpler language, any object coming
So
before
so
the dot,
basically
this
this,
will refer to that object
yeah.
in simpler terms.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is referring the current object, right? In a case of admin.
Yeah, correct. This is referring to current object, that is admin. So to simplify it, I am saying that, can you remove this line, Anand, Ankit? Okay, yeah. So to simplify the term, or to remember in simple terms, so always remember that before dot, whichever object is we are mentioning, this is referring to that object. Okay, which in turns again what you said, current object. Okay. So setter call admin dot full name, use admin as this and not user. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead. Uh, yeah. So basically, we have multiple things in prototype, right? Yeah. So we have multiple properties in prototype, and we can have basically. So in this object, rabbit rabbit prototype has animal prototype has some other object. So basically, JavaScript provides us a facility to iterate over inherited properties. Okay. So let me repeat again. JavaScript provides us facility to loop over the inherited properties. Okay. So to loop over these inherited properties, we have for in loop. Okay. You guys must have used for in loop, right? On an object. Hello. Anand, Ankit, have
Yes.
you used for
For
in
in,
loop
yes.
for object?
Yes. For
Uh,
for
for in.
for
For
each we have.
oh,
For
for in is
each we have.
okay. So for
Uh,
in, okay. So let us see for in loop first. Okay. The for in statement iterates over all enumerable string properties of an object, ignoring properties by symbol, including inherited enumerable properties. Correct. So using for in loop, you can iterate over an object. Using for each, you can iterate over an array, right? For each is an array property, array method. So in using for in, you can iterate over objects, but along with that, you get something extra, that is including inherited enumerable properties. Correct. So using for in, we can loop to the inherited properties as well. Okay, so we'll see that. So again, our same old example, rabbit is inheriting from animal. Okay. So if I try to print the keys of rabbit, okay, let us do that. What object.keys will do, it will simply print all the keys from the current object, right? Yeah. So node. Correct. So it simply iterates over the current object, but it was not able to jump to its prototype. So that is something for for in is able to do, as we just saw the definition. Okay, so first statement is for object.keys, and the second output is for in loop. So what does for in did? It simply went to the all inherited properties. First jump and then its. So if a scenario comes in, like you are developing some API and you are making use of some other property, other object, or response object from some other API, and you want to make use of all those data, then you can simply inherit all the properties into your new object. And if you want to loop over both the object, you can simply use for in loop. Okay, so in this way, you don't have to create two different variables and apply two different for loops, and that will always increase our response time and code lines as well. Correct? I hope that is clear, Anand. Ankit.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, clear.
Correct. So now what we saw here, that using for in a loop we can access all the inherited properties, right? But it may happen that in certain scenarios it may happen that we don't want to access our inherited properties, but we just want our current properties, right? Current object properties. So what is happening here? Here it is giving all the inherited properties, right? So to restrict inherited properties, we have a built-in method called has_own_property, right? You must have been heard of has_own_property, right? Object.has_own.
Yes, yes.
So let's check that example. Okay. So what we are doing here simply is in for in loop, we are checking whether rabbit. So we are filtering only the keys which are present in the rabbit object. Correct? So what we are doing on rabbit, we are iterating. So first key will be jumps, right? So we are simply checking whether this key belongs to rabbit or not. Yes, it will go inside. Okay, and print it. Then the next thing will be its. So again, it will check whether it belongs to rabbit or not. So it does not, right? So basically, this is how you can differentiate between the inherited one and the current one. Correct, right? So ours is jump and theirs is its, correct? Inherited is its. Okay, so if you remember our previous example from Chrome console, did you observe something over there? So basically, tell me where is this from? Where does this has_own properties coming from? So like we did not define it, we didn't define it separately, right? So like it is basic logic that if we are directly accessing it from rabbit, so it must be coming somewhere from rabbit, right? And what does in earlier in, in earlier code, what does we go through that if some object is not able to find the property, it always checks that property inside its prototype, right? So that simply means has_own property is also part of object prototype, right? So if you see over here, yes. See, has own property itself is a part of prototype. Correct. So then you should ask yourself a question is, why does has own property not appear in foreign loop like it's and jump? Correct. Or any other properties, all these properties, why all these properties are not getting appeared in the foreign loop when foreign loop simply enumerates all the properties which are inherited, right? So the basically the answer is simple. So what JavaScript says, I will only print, I will only allow foreign loop all those inherited properties which has enumerable set as true. Okay. So basically, a prototype has a property called enumerable. If that is false, JavaScript foreign loop will ignore all those properties. So let me show you. Enumerable, yeah. Enumerable. Okay, I guess it is something inbuilt. So basically, under the hood, what is happening? Yeah, so prototype has this property, has own property. Right, has own property. And what has own property consists? Has own property consists of a constraint called enumerable. Okay, so what does JavaScript says? JavaScript says that in prototype, all the properties which has enumerable false will not be considered in the foreign loop. Whereas this jump property was having enumerable true. Sorry, its properties is having enumerable true under the hood. And true. Okay. So by default, when we try to inherit the properties from our parents or other objects, so by default the enumerable flag is true for those, and that is why all those properties appears inside foreign loop. I hope that is clear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so to summarize the whole prototypal inheritance, okay, so in JavaScript, all objects have a hidden property called prototype. Okay, this one. So this is a hidden property which all object has. And the second point was this prototype can either be null or object, correct? Then we can next point is we can use __ proto to set or access the prototype values. Okay, the object referenced by so whatever object which is referenced by this prototype is called a prototype, of course. Apart from that, yeah, yeah. So the next takeaway is the value of this keyword, right? Yeah. So if we call a method, okay, if we call a method in an object and the method is taken from the prototype, in this case it is taking this method from prototype, this still refers to the current object. Okay, why? Because our basic rule, what before dot whatever object comes, this will refer to that. And last was the foreign loop. foreign loop will iterate over both its own properties and inherited properties. Okay. So that is all with the prototypal inheritance. Do you have any doubts in or got confused in some for some area which we can cover again? Any confusions, Ankit or Anand?
No, not now. I think we should try this all by like we'll try this all by ourselves, and if we have any question, then we'll come up with all the questions
Okay.
for you.
Okay, no issues. No issues. That is fine. Clear all drawings. Yes. Okay, so let's move ahead. So this is clear, right? So what I'm thinking is if we cover Mongoose as well today, that will be a bit overload, right? So what? So let's do this thing
Yes,
first.
actually, we'll
So
go through
what
this
I'll do?
only.
Yeah, I'll share this folder with you guys. You just play with the code. Okay, try to understand. So if you have note down all the points which I have told you today, so it will be much clearer to you. Okay. Try to do that with actual objects. This is something of prototypal inheritance is something related to JavaScript. So this concept is there in your Angular as well. So in your projects, try to do the inheritance and access the parent properties. Just try to play with it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll end this session here today, and in next session we'll cover Mongoose and test cases. Okay.
Yes. Bye bye.
Okay.
And if you have any doubts again while let's say trying out, if you have some doubts, just reach out to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay then. Thank you so much.